Hello everyone, I am Hacklebeast, bringing you week 2 of the Gambit's Cup. We had an amazing set of series last week, and I certainly hope that is an omen for the rest of the season, and we continue having great games going into this week as well. On the left side of iFU versus Reps, we have iFU Modesty as the Orange Zerg. And on the right side, as the Teal Protoss, we have Reps Dewalt. Certainly a staple of Gambit Cup number 2, but now coming into Gambit Cup 3, he is looking much improved compared to last season. He's won multiple Defiler tours, looking very strong in them. And hopefully we'll get to see some really strong games out of him, some really strong games out of him now as well. Last week he played a really good game against the Chinese player Heroes, just barely losing that game in a very drawn-out, long, hard-fought PvP. But not playing PvP now, playing PvZ versus Modesty. Modesty was a recent pickup of iFU. I'm pretty sure they picked Modesty up after Gambit Cup 2 ended. I'm hesitant to say that because they might have picked him up like right at the end, like during playoffs, is another possibility. But Modesty spent most of Gambit 2 playing for a different team, not iFU. Anyway, and Modesty has thrown down his hatchery. So no early lings from him. Actually, no early lings at all. Morphing 2 eggs, but neither of them are lings. Hopefully to trick Dewalt here. Oh, alright. No pauses and replays. That's cool. Hopefully to trick Dewalt into making a couple of cannons rather than just one set. But it looks like Dewalt's keeping the probe around. It's not going to get out of there early. And that's the reward for having a brave probe. If you don't mind being chased around by potentially 6 lings, once those come out, you can stick around and see exactly how many cannons are going, or how many cannons you need. And Dewalt saw he only needs 1 cannon, so he can get that early gateway. Good stuff, good stuff. So the map is Chain Reaction, and since it's the first map, it means that it would also be the 7th map if a 7th map is needed in this set. This map is a bit funky. There are a lot of backdoors, as you can see. The probe was coming down here to scout out, just to make sure Modesty was not mining away at those back minerals. And that is one of, that's one of the ways into the back of the base. Also, there's ways over on this side to sneak in. If you have splash units, you can come in from the back of the natural. It does make defending against the Hydralisk bust difficult on this map. You really don't get the advantage of this ramp when the Hydras are coming up. They can all get onto the high ground and all move forward. It's not a really solid choke. So the front isn't terribly good to deal with the Hydralisk bust to begin with. And then when you add in the fact that if you have lurkers or drones on the bottom side, you can be sneaking in Hydras from the back. It means that Dewalt's almost required to build cannons there, just to make sure that doesn't happen. And if you're building cannons out there, you're not building cannons at the front, making your defenses a little bit weaker. Anyway, Modesty plays a very standard PvZ, or ZVP, from his perspective. It's just the absolute staples of it. 3 hatch layer into 5 hatch 3 hatch layer into 5 hatch Hydra Den. And then normally he will go for a rather fast 4th, on trainer action, that's going to be a bit more difficult. There is not an opposing natural to take. So a fourth base has to be way out here, and that's a very exposed, defending against Dewalt's aggression. Probably means that he's not going to be able to take it as soon as he wants. And Dewalt, with a very fast Citadel, speed has already started for him. So speed and +1 will actually be finishing around the same time, but it's going to be a time that's significantly faster than normal. So Modesty's going to have to worry about a very fast +1 push. It doesn't look like he's going to have Overlords to scout in. There's an Overlord here, but it's not heading the right direction. It's a little bit worrying. If he doesn't realize that the +1 is the +1 attack is coming, it's very easy to not have enough defenses at the front and only have exactly as much as you would need for a normal kind of attack at that time. Yeah, it does not look like that Overlord's going to head over there. The Overlord's going to fly out to the front and look for potential DTs coming out. Now, this looks tight. Zealot should be tight here. Zealot makes it tight here, and then Zealot makes it tight here. I think those are the only two gaps. That's not a gap. Despite how much it looks like a gap, that's not a gap. And then Pylon with the wall should be tight, and obviously Forge Gateway's tight. So, pretty nice wall. Dewalt does need to be careful, though. He only has one cannon, which means if he gets a little bit too far forward with the Zealots, and they get picked off by the Lings, he could be in some trouble. But speed is already popped. So Modesty sees the very early speed. +1 hasn't finished yet. It should be just about done. There it is. +1 just finishing now. So Modesty should be surprised by that. How many defenses does he have up? He has a Sunken Colony at the third. Well, we'll see how he's going to be able to defend it. This is exactly what Dewalt wants. Not a whole lot of defenses here. Modesty does have a decent Ling count, but he's going to have to really stretch it. And what I mean by that is he just... he can't afford to be throwing away Lings. Actually, this is pretty much the best he could hope for. Drawing the Zealots away like this, giving him enough time to attempt to get up better defenses and going after reinforcements. This is a really smart move from Modesty here, as he's pulled Dewalt's entire army back before they get any kind of kills here. It gave him enough time at least for the Sun Colony to get up, probably more. I'm surprised that Dewalt invested all of his Zealots to go back and stop it. Maybe he was really worried about his reinforcements getting sniped, but all he had to do was just not send the immediate two, keep two of them here, and then wait for a group of 4 before moving out. He would have been absolutely fine. Now coming down to the natural, there's 3 Sunkens here in great position, and it does not look like Dewalt's early... it doesn't look like his early pressure is going to be able to do anything here. And this early pressure didn't put him behind economically. All it really did was delay his Stargate. So there are the 2 Stargates. He's starting to get Corsairs up now. Already has 4 of them just because he went double Stargate, and already has +1. So going for the delayed +1 Corsair follow-up. Not the most common thing, but certainly not unheard of. And really, yeah, the fact that this didn't work out, the only punishment this is going to have back on Dewalt is the fact that he won't have as high of a Corsair count as he otherwise would have. But really, no, nothing significant. Alright, Lurker upgrade on the way for Modesty. Really good to have. There comes a point where there's too many Zealots for any amount of Sunken Colonies to really be able to handle them effectively. You have to just put them so far back that they're not all shooting, and Chukotorg with the Zealots really just destroy any base. So definitely going to need Lurkers very soon to start to hold off Dewalt's aggression. And Dewalt's going to be mixing in some DTs now. The Corsairs are only now coming out, so there's really not a whole lot of Overlord damage done. In fact, no Overlord damage done so far. We'll see what he's able to get Ooh, there is a drop. Alright. I was thinking that that the main was looking rather open, but he had no way of getting in there. But in fact, he did manage to get the shuttle. Very nice. Forgetting to drop one of the zealots. And now let's see how much damage Modesty takes before he realizes. About 5 drones, and then losing another 2 when he pulled. So some good damage from the DTs already. But there's not exactly a response with the slow overlords. So, well, speed for the overlord is just finishing up now. He might be able to get another building. Possibly. If he goes after the spire, no. No, he's not going to be able to get the spire. Instead, going to go after the spawning pool. It was already a little bit damaged, so it's even less health than a full health spire has. And he will, in fact, be able to get it with a lot of the hydralisks distracted. A little bit of a mistake for Modesty to allow the spawning pool to go down. And he's going to have to rebuild it. It means that when his hive finishes, he won't be able to start crack immediately. Because the spawning pool will take longer than the hive does. Yeah. So, very successful DT drop from him, taking out all those drones at the beginning and then managing to snipe the spawning pool. Dewalt has the robo facility in a pretty far forward place. And there's the observatory going down. Okay, no chance of Reavers. It'd be odd to see Reavers this late anyway, but just had to be sure. And it looks like Dewalt is going in for round number 2 in the main. This time bringing in 2 shuttles worth of units. We're just going to elevator them in. This map certainly is very good for elevators. It's just so easy to pull them off and so hard to defend all the different angles it can come in at. But this is a very strong force now, yet more units coming in as well. Another 3 zealots to continue to reinforce. And these Corsairs are doing a lot of damage to the Overlord. He's taking some losses, but with that many Corsairs, it really doesn't matter if he takes a couple. Is he able to stop the upgrade? Yes, just barely. Ever so barely stopping that armor upgrade. A huge, huge benefit to make sure that goes down. And now there are still 6 units in the main. They're going to be able to take out some buildings. The Spore Colony goes down. They probably shouldn't be targeting the Queen's Nest. That's not a terribly useful building to be going after. But there's not Hydralisks coming back to stop them. There are some lurkers, but the lurkers can be dodged for the most part. Or not. He's just gonna go for it. I don't think that this is going to work. It is under 300 health. Under 200 health. No. 150. I think if he backed up and got out of range of these 2 lurkers, that would have bought him enough time to finish off the hive. Very close. Still may be able to get it with a subsequent drop. Very likely, in fact. And he'll be able to continue to delay that spire. Or, excuse me, continue to delay hive tech even more. Storm drop? Yes, indeed. Storm drop. Oh, very nice storm drop. Catching 6 drones, but there was a pull from Modesty, so it could have been worse. But still, 6 drones, nothing to sneeze at. And Modesty is continued to just be pushed back by constant drop aggression. He really has no answer for this, and has not put any pressure on Dewalt this entire game. Looks like Dewalt's going to be taking a 3rd. And with Protoss having a 3rd on this map, it really just puts Zerg in a very disadvantageous position. Modesty's expanding here. That's a little bit surprising. Modesty needs a 4th base. I understand that. And he doesn't want to go for the normal 4th base, just because he doesn't have map control, and because he'd like it to be hidden. He really would prefer Dewalt to not know about it, because it's going to be hard to defend, but Dewalt's probably going to scout this, just because Dewalt's in a great position to take a quick 4th base whenever he wants to, and that's where Dewalt wants to take a 4th base. So if Modesty had hit it in this expo, I think it might have been hidden a little bit longer, or will have been hidden a little bit longer. Dewalt hasn't quite found it yet. He did have a probe heading over there, but it got sniped with lings. Anyway, Dewalt's coming down with a very scary army. 3 High Templar, full energy. With full energy, indeed. Both of them have 2 storms. And let's see how much damage he can get with these. First storms on the bridge, pretty good. Now going after the lurkers is what he needed. There are a bunch of lurkers morphing in, and oh, that was a brutal storm on the Hydralisks. There are a lot of Dragoons here, but not a whole lot of Zerglings to counter them necessarily. Now the lurkers have morphed. The lurkers are going to get a lot of splash off on these goons, but not enough to take them out. And there are still a huge mess of goons here. Modesty needs to be building a lot of cracklings. He did get the crackling upgrade, but has no armor attack upgrades for them. But still, he needs a lot of cracklings just to make this not worth it for Dewalt. To force Dewalt to pull back, wait until he gets a better mix of Zealots and Archons in there. Zerglings going in again. Do they get nothing? Wow, they get absolutely nothing. Very close. It does appear that Dewalt was able to snipe that by just ferrying in units every now and then. Very nice. Going for the sniper on the spawning pool. Another pods. Is he going to get it? Yes, he will. Another snipe on the spawning pool. That's going to be pretty brutal for Modesty. He really does need a lot of cracklings here to try to hold this off. And he doesn't have any hive tech. He didn't manage to get a Defiler Mounder and Ultralisk Cavern done before the hive went down. So really, it's just Hydra Lurker for Modesty for a while here. Dewalt on 3-2. Great upgrades for Dewalt. I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out he had a double forge back there compared to just one armor upgrade on the Lings. And 3 attack on the Zealots means that even when they get 2 armor, it's not going to help out a whole lot. So Modesty has a long way to catch up before he can be competitive in the armor upgrades, or just in upgrades in general. Still bearing down on this third. Looks like High Templar drops once again, using Zealots from the front to try to tank a lot of damage, and that was a very nice storm. There's a High Templar hiding under the Overlord, another 6 kills. But it looks like the third base is going to be going down anyway. Does not appear that Modesty can save it. Some good storms attacking the reinforcement lurkers. And the Dragoons are going to take a lot of damage here. But the lurkers need to unburrow and reposition if they have enough time. Oh, another storm hitting 3 lurkers at once. And I don't think that this base can be saved. The main hatchery has already gone down. Quite possible the other hatchery will go down as well. No. No, Modesty is going to be able to get enough reinforcements to barely be able to hold on here. Modesty's not in a good enough position to be able to come back from this. He's at 1/3 the supply of Dewalt. Slightly more than 1/3 of the supply of Dewalt. This base was cleaned up because Dewalt wanted to expand here, apparently. It looks like Dewalt's now just going to go for the killing blow. He doesn't need to take out that hatchery there. Honestly, he really doesn't have the economy to producing off that hatchery anyway, and mining's already been disrupted. And that is just a lot of 3/3 speed lots. They just don't die. They do not die. More Zerglings coming in from the back, but Archon should not have any problem taking care of them. Especially with a 3 attack upgrade, means it's one-shotting Lings no matter what. There's a lurker on the ramp with 5 kills. It might accidentally get a lot of these High Templar. Done a lot of good damage to him, but no. Won't... Well, that final shot he did get a couple. So, doesn't matter. And after that, all the aggression going down on the main, Dewalt will be able to just come through the front door, getting some great storms off on the drones, and Dewalt very, very convincingly takes the first game. And that's why Dewalt is Rep's best player at the moment. Very good. So, game number 2. On the left side, now playing as orange, we have Dewalt as Protoss. And on the right side, we have iFU SPX. Alright. So, SPX, good old school player, qualified way the hell back for TSL number 1, and has been playing in a lot of Defiler tours since. Does always play Terran, but this is a pretty bad map for Terran, so I'm surprised to see SPX coming out now. I would have sent the best Protoss player you had, Must. Like, I really would have sent Must on this map. I think Must versus Dewalt's a pretty decent matchup. Yeah. For those of you who are wondering, Elegant was supposed to be casting today, but the net problems he had last time have not resolved themselves. He has a terrible internet provider. So, that's why I'm on my own. Alright, Dewalt sending out the scout. He will be scouting in the correct direction first. And it looks like SPX is going to be going for Forge FE. Not Forge FE, Siege Expand. Wow, that's bad. He'll be going for Siege Expand. This map's pretty bad for Siege Expand, though. Reverse ramp maps are never good for Siege Expand, just because the siege tank doesn't have vision up on the high ground, and there's a mischance that can really hurt siege tanks. You'll always get the splash, but I mean, it's the difference between doing 70 damage and 25, or however much the splash damage is. But more important than that, on this map specifically, the siege tank can't quite reach the top. So if Dewalt gets aggressive with goons and just hugs the top here, SPX can't deal with that with tanks on the low ground. So that's why it's usually preferable to just build the forward bunker and go for a fast expansion anyway, because you'll want to be defending from the high ground. You don't want it to be defending from the low ground. Got a little bro hug going on between SCVs. All right. I think that hug was a little bit long, but that's cool. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Alright, Dewalt's first Dragoon is on the way, and SPX isn't building a bunker. This could be a problem. Ooh, okay, he's going 2-fact. Alright, haven't seen a genuine 2-fact in quite a while. 2-fact is a very aggressive build. Quite often it involves cutting SCVs for a period. And you can certainly overwhelm a Protoss opponent if they get a little bit too greedy about their expansions. But Dewalt hasn't gone for his natural expansion yet, and we don't know when he wants to go for his third. I still think that Dewalt... I don't think Dewalt's in a lot of trouble here. I think he'll be able to hold it off just fine. SPX only now sending his scouting SCV. Will it be able to get in? Yes. Yes, it will. Next Dragoon's not going to come out for just a little while. So the SCV can get in here. Make sure there's no DT rush. That's all he needed to scout for. Although, because he scouted and didn't see the expansion, and there's not any tech in here, SPX might be a little bit worried. He didn't see this expansion go down, because Dewalt should be farther than just one gateway and a core at this point in the game. Alright. Now, SPX needs a little bit more before he starts the 2 racks. I don't know why he's not building out of this factory. There we go. Alright, he's gonna go now. A little bit on the weaker side for a 2-fact, but certainly fine. He can reinforce with vultures pretty easily. I think it was speed researching, right? Yeah, speed is researching on those vultures. So they'll certainly be able to zip across the battlefield right to Dewalt's front in rapid time. Now, all SPX has to do here is micro effectively. Just has to micro effectively, and oh, Dewalt went for fast observer? No, he's going for reavers. Uh-oh. That's not good. You do not want reavers when holding off a 2-fact. They just come out too slow, and they're too vulnerable on their own. This is bad. This is actually really bad for Dewalt going for reavers here. Oh no, SPX. SPX will be absolutely fine as long as he doesn't blow up his tanks. If the tanks stay alive, then the Reaver really won't be able to do a whole lot. Yeah, this is bad. This is bad for Dewalt. The vultures are gonna go try to get in. Oh, laying mines on the ramp. That's gonna do a lot of damage here. Oh, getting the drones as well, or the probes. The probes are forced to pull forward to try to avoid the explosion, but most of them die anyway. There's only one probe left from the natural, and it gave SPX the opportunity he needed to get this far forward. Now at the top of a reverse ramp against Protoss. I don't know how much longer siege mode is, but once siege mode finishes, there's no way Dewalt can break out of this. I mean, he is going Reaver? No, he's not going Reaver. He doesn't have enough money for Reaver. Oh, he didn't even have enough money for it. He went OBS instead just because he needed something to help him out against mines. And oh, the probe's gonna... No, the probes aren't gonna quite blow up yet. Oh, but Dewalt, it looks like he is not gonna be able to survive this. How much supply left? 15, 14 supply versus 43. 2-fact never goes out of style. Never ever. Alright, so with only the 2 tanks left over, he just needs to pull up to the top, and siege mode's done. Dewalt's gonna be contained forever. Andy GG's. SPX tying it up. Whoops. Alright, game number 3. Game number 3 on ground 0. SPX will be continuing on. And who is Reps going to send? Try to deal with SPX. In the top position is SPX, in fact, as the blue Terran. And at the bottom position, we have Defi? What? I'm not surprised that Defi is playing. I'm surprised he's Zerg. Recently, Defi started playing ZVP. So he's now a Protoss player who race picks away from the mirror matchup. But he's playing ZVT. I didn't know he played ZVT. Huh. Well, I guess we're gonna find out how good he is. Last week, I'm pretty sure it was Defi. Was it Defi who got the 1 win for Reps? Or was it Tama? No, it was Tama. Okay. Defi did not get the 1 win for Reps. But Defi was Zerg, was on this was also on this map. Actually, it's kind of funny how that worked out. where Dewalt won the game, and then his second game was on a really nice Protoss map, and SPX won his game, and the second map is a really nice Terran map. Certainly didn't help out Dewalt. Just got two-factored. Alright. Defy's gonna 12 hatch. It's fine. And what is SPX going to do? I somehow wouldn't be surprised if he just continued with a lot of aggression. Oh. Defy's confused too. I was ignoring that because they're both Russian. So it's like, oh, it's a Russian word. That means a thing. I don't know what, but a thing. But apparently it... What? Alright, apparently Defy got the joke. Like a little while later. I still don't get the joke. I don't speak Russian. That's fine. So, SPX also gonna fast expand. Slower than Defy's, just went for the 12 hatch, but still relatively fast. And the first Lings are on the way. They'll be able to chase out the SCV. Defy has hidden his hatchery down here. So as long as SPX wants to keep its SCV alive... Ooh. Ooh, that was bad. Well, SPX won't see the hatchery go down. I was going to say, if he wanted to keep it alive in the natural to see the timing, then he would never come down to the... If he wanted to keep it in the main to see the timing, he'd never come out of the natural and see it, but he just dies immediately anyway. So, yeah, SPX does not really know what Defy's build is, other than that Defy did not make early links. That's all SPX knows. I don't think... I'm pretty sure that the lair would not have been up by the time that SCV died. Because it's possible that he saw that the lair hadn't started, so he knows that it's not 2-hatch Mutalisk. But even then, the lair could have been made in the natural to hide that. Oh. Well, looks like another SCV got in, and most likely saw that hatchery. Wait. No. Oh, wait. When I do vision like this, you can't see buildings. Never mind. Actually, we can just shake it like this. No. You know, that's really close. I don't know if he saw the hatchery. Probably did. I think he saw the hatchery. Doesn't really matter. It's not as if the third hatchery is anything special. It just means that Defy's going to be playing standardly. This is Neo Ground Zero. So Neo Ground Zero was changed to really help out Zerg, because Zergs are doing bad in Pro League, or were doing bad. So this cliff is made for Mutalisk Grass. It could not be better. Like, unless this cliff came wrapping around and there were like double edges, it could not be better. Ooh, alright. Defy's going for fast lurkers? Normally when you go for 3-hatch lurker, you don't bother getting the spire. You just get lurkers and bust. So it's a little bit confusing to see him also getting the spire. I thought maybe he was afraid of mech for a second there, so he just got the early Hydralisk Den, because that's normally what you do when your opponent goes for either fast starport or fast factory. But it would have been a mistake on Defy's part if he thought SPX was going mech. He's shown nothing to indicate mech. Oh. He's just started +1 and then canceled it immediately. didn't use the money on anything else. Huh. No, he did it again. What? What? I don't even know. I kind of just want to keep that engineering base selected to see if he does it a third time. Maybe he's like doing it intermittently to distract overlords in case there's like an overlord that just popped in. He's like, aha, I actually am researching +1, but he's not researching +1, which would be a really weird fake. Like a fake that doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay. Okay, this time we're not canceling it. That's good. First lurkers are out though. And SPX is going to be in a little bit of trouble with dealing with them. He put up a lot of turrets already without seeing the Mutalisks. So it turns out the Mutalisks aren't going to be able to do a whole lot. The Spire is done. Oh, going for Scourge? Really? We're doing it like a first Protoss Spire? I mean, Scourge stop siege tank drops on... Oh. Whoops. I thought these were still cliffable. Never mind, apparently they're not cliffable anymore in the new version. So no, they don't stop siege tank drops up here. The terrain stops siege tank drops right there. They want to snipe early science vessels? It's just a lot of gas is the issue. It's 75 gas for that pair of Scourge, and then 75 for the other pair, and then 150 for the Spire. It's 300 gas to stop vulture drops. Really, and that's all you could be using it for at this point in the game, right? I'm not crazy, right? Alright. Well, Defy's build is kind of weird. And it does look like he just wants to be defensive with the early lurkers, but it's weird that SPX has not been aggressive at all. He does have scan, so he's been able to see his opponent a little bit, but really, he's just built turrets and then sat in his base to defend against the non-existent Mutalisk attack. He's now finally moving out with his force. Will be seen by a couple lings out in the middle of the map. So Defy should be able to react, but it's a rather small force. That 5 lurkers easily be able to take care of that, which he has buried. They're hard to see, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and 7. That one's really hard to see. Oh, they're hold lurkers. Oh, they're hold lurkers. Oh, nice. Nice. Flawless victory right there. Not a single Zergling lost. Really, as nice as that was, really didn't hurt SPX too much, though. It was just kind of... It was barely more than a drop's worth of units, so they were pretty expendable. No siege tanks. Now moving out with 4 siege tanks. And that's a really weird move for a Terran, to wait until you get 4 siege tanks before moving out. You hardly ever see that. Is he going to go for hold lurkers again? No, this time not going for hold lurkers, but the tanks are driving too far forward? Okay, backing off. That... Oh, that could have been bad. And Defy's Fast Hive. Defy's Fast Hive is really going to bother SPX here. He's had scans, so we should have seen that the Hive was going down very early. Defy only got out a few lurkers before immediately throwing down the Hive. Uh-oh. Where's the swarm? Why did he not swarm? I don't know why he didn't swarm, but it's still going to be okay for him. He killed a couple tanks, killed some Marines. Didn't lose that many lurkers. Definitely is slightly behind in supply, but it shouldn't really be that way for long. He's getting his 4th gas up, and that's really what he needs. Where SPX is getting a 3rd base, but it's only a mineral only. And going in for another attack here, the Scourge all miss, but it does give the lurkers time to burrow. We'll be able to get some kills here. And it did split off the tanks from the rest of the army. I don't know if Defy's going to be able to capitalize on that, but a pack of 12 lings could really hurt SPX here. There are some mines down, and with Defy's lurker-heavy army, just those number of mines could be really bad! Oh, no! Defy loses 2 lurkers and gets 3 other ones injured severely. Alright, maybe you want some overlords. Or at the very least, some zerglings like this to try to draw some mines. There we go. There we go. So, Defy's moving really far forward. He's just ignoring the large army that he kind of pushed aside. And, more mines. Oh, the mines! The mines just keep killing the lurkers. Oh. Like, seriously, 8 mines might have just saved SPX here. Because this is not that scary of an army. And it's still going to be able to do a little bit of damage, but not a whole lot. Looks like more lurkers getting kills here. SPX wanting to get aggressive and then finding out that that was actually a really bad idea. The Defiler is dead because he died to mines. So once the swarm goes out, the lurkers won't be able to live too much longer. We'll live long enough to get the comsat though, and the supply depot. And, okay, there's the other scan. I was gonna say, he doesn't have detection anymore. The science vessel moved too far away. Did he just double stim? That sounded like a double stim. Oh, man. Okay. So, a little bit of sloppy play from both players here. But I think Defy's mistakes have been less damning than SPX's. Defy's been able to get up his 4th base. Take out those Marines, but get up a 4th base, have it secure, and destroy a lot of SPX's stuff, and really stifle any aggression he wanted to get going. Just forcing him to rely on mines, really. It's been all about good mine hits. And going in for another attack. The mines! The mines! Oh! It's like, how many times is he going to run into mines before he realizes he needs to do something about that? Oh, more mines. Okay, so I mean, other than mine stuff though, Defy's been playing a pretty solid game. The build order's a bit wonky. I don't like the Spire. I think he should have just skipped Spire altogether. But it's working out. It's working out, and Ultralisks are going to be coming up here to stop mining from the 3rd base. SPX GG's. Defy takes game number 3. Alright. So, don't know if Defy's going to continue to play Zerg. I do have to say, I like that style of Zerg a lot. It's not that much of a secret that I don't like Mutalisks. I think Mutalisks are overrated. And I think Zergs can play Spireless a lot more than they do. And Spireless is actually a strong option. On the left side is Defy as the yellow Zerg once again. And on the right side is iFU Cryok as the Teal Terran. I do want to mention a correction. The last time I casted iFU, I said Cryok was a doctor. But he is not a doctor. He is a doctoral student. He is working on his doctorate, but he doesn't actually have it yet. So I apologize. Somebody gave me some bad information on that one. Alright. So this was the map that Cryok won on last week versus a Zerg, in fact, True Touch, who's a pretty solid Zerg player, but oh, that was a game. That certainly was a game. We'll see. Cryok, if you haven't seen a bunch of his games, does the same thing every time, TVZ. And it's a pretty good build, so it's hard to fault him for it, but he goes fast gas, starts +1, gets 5 Raxes, goes for a large 1-0 and then 1-1 bio ball. Then, at some point in the game, he throws down 5 factories and just starts pumping vultures and tanks. And that becomes the crux of the game. If Zerg is winning, when Cryok starts his factories, Zerg will steamroll Cryok before he gets any kind of mech presence. And Cryok can try to turtle up, but it won't work. He will just die. On the other hand, if Zerg is losing at that point in the game, Cryok gets to send vultures everywhere. Mines get laid everywhere. Zerg loses a lot of units to mines, kind of like how Defi did last game, but to a much larger extent. And then the siege tanks come and just shut down all kinds of aggression. So, that one point in the game is very pivotal as to who's winning at that point. Defi is going for a 3rd hatchery once again. Excuse me. Defi is going for a 3rd hatchery once again. Not hiding it in the natural, just throwing it down in the main and going to allow the SCV to see it. But really, that's not the important thing. He just needs to kill it before he throws down the Hydralisk Den, assuming that he does the same thing he did last time. Maybe the Spire last time was not so much to stop drops, but it was to fake out the Terran? That's possible. I mean, the Terran's going to scan the main as soon as he gets scanned, and he'll see the Spire morphing. If he doesn't click on it, he won't know how far along in the process it is. So maybe that's the reason he did it, to force Terran to build a lot of turrets he doesn't otherwise need to build. I don't know. I'm still not a fan of the Spire in that last game. So, where's the eBay? Ooh, Cryok. Cryok's doing something slightly different. He is skipping the eBay. Everything else looks pretty much the same. Expansion timing and academy and whatnot, but he has skipped the eBay. So he's just going to go for a really strong unupgraded attack. Defi's once again getting the Hydralisk Den and the Spire simultaneously. Alright. Well, with that fast lurker upgrade, once the lurkers come out, Cryok's aggression will be completely shut down. He has no hope. Or he could just lose all of his Marines to Lings. I thought that was going to be a really bad engagement for Defi when I saw the Lings moving out, but Cryok left 6 Marines back in the base, and that was the difference in that battle. Defi able to clean that up, and that's very nice. He also gets to see the Marine count, so he knows that about 8 are coming at him, has enough time to throw down 2 creep colonies. A third? No, not a third. I think 2 is going to be enough, especially since he's making more Lings. So, yeah, gets him enough time to get those started, and really whittles down Cryok's Marine count. That's very unfortunate for Cryok that he lost 10 Marines there. The Lurker upgrade's getting pretty close to complete, about 60% now. And, as I said, once the first Lurker's out, Cryok's done. Cryok can get no aggression going after that one hits. Cryok has stopped SCV production, has horrible saturation at the natural, so he's not all in, but getting kind of close to there. And he's going in for the attack. The drones are forced to be pulled. Really? Yo, I didn't think Defi lost that game. I think Defi quit a little bit too soon there. Like, yeah, that's a scary attack, but it's only 8 Marines. You had Lurker tech that was just about to finish. I mean, sacrificing the natural's bad, but you could have Lurkered up your ramp. Alright. Game number 5, with the series tied up 2-2. Yo, shoutouts to Cryok for winning at least 1 game in both of his series so far. It's rather impressive. In the top right is Cryok yet again as the blue Terran. And, oh, that's not what I meant to click. In the bottom left is... Alright, is Plumum. Every time I see Plumum play, I secretly hope he goes for 4 pool into proxy sunken. I don't know if I will ever let that hope die. Because that just, it made me so happy to watch that one time he did it. Anyway, so, TVZ on Sniper's Ridge, cross positions. Cross positions is better for Cryok with his build. With his build, he normally doesn't go for the main, and last time he mixed it up just a little bit. But normally when he goes for the +1 timing, he doesn't go for the main. The Terran should be going for the third. So when you're cross positions like this, you're forced to expand closer to your opponent. So Cryok will either go horizontal or vertical, but he doesn't have to go diagonal to get to the third, which you would if Plum had started at either of the other 2 corners. So a little bit lucky for Cryok there. Okay. I think Plum misclicked up here. I think Plum misclicked here because he wanted to click on the center to check for proxies. Is my best guess about that kind of weird up and around scouting. But the Overlord saw the SCV coming in, so Plumum knows that this is where Cryok was, And just send the drone right in. It should be able to keep it alive for a while. There's only one Marine here. Alright. Plumum went for a 12 hatch, as Defi did in both of his games. So, only 12 hatches. This is only 12 hatches in the series. Alright. I'm actually curious if Crack's gonna try that again. He might. That's a really early academy. That academy is definitely earlier than he had it last game. What build is One Rack's academy? I'm pretty sure this is new for me. Alright, you know what? Kudos to Cryok. I started off the cast talking about how he does not change his builds. And it looks like he's going to be doing 2 different builds in his 2 games so far. With the really fast academy. Alright, Plumum's lair is about halfway done. He has not started his Hydralisk den yet. So it doesn't look like he's going to be playing the same way Defi was. Alright. Ooh. Cryoku with an early Firebat. No, okay. I was about to say he went for Firebat before Medic, which would be really odd, but no. Got one Medic out first, and then the Firebat. Now throwing down a bunch of Raxes. And 5 Marines shouldn't have a problem with the 3 Lings, but Plumum should be a little bit scared at this point. Definitely after seeing that Firebat. He knows some kind of push is coming. He's going to need to build Sunkens. 3 Sunkens? 3 Sunkens is a lot, but in this case it might be necessary. 3 will certainly hold off the first push, but I think it'll be just about enough he needs once the 4 Raxes kick in. Stim is done, range has started, and as you can see, Cryok has not cut SCV out of both command centers, but cut SCVs from 1 command center. And Cryok should definitely just back off for now. He can't take the ramp though, and that's nice. Or not. Head back home. Alright. So, Speedling's coming in. Plumum purposely went up and around the middle, hoping to avoid Marines in the middle of the map. Accidentally runs by those Marines and takes a lot of damage from them before turning around and picking them off. That would have been a really nice move if he had turned around immediately. Since he didn't, it was just kind of okay. And now, he's only going to be able to sneak 2 Lings into the base. And eBay has been started. Interestingly, that eBay is going to be very late though for a +1. But Ling does live long enough to see what's going on. Based on the eBay, based on the 4 Raxes, he should know that Cryok's pretty all in. He's decently all in at least. And Cryok throwing away a medic. He does not have a whole lot of medics here, just 2 medics, both of them with less than 50 energy. One of them has 50 energy, the other one 35. And more Sunkens are being thrown down. That's too many Sunkens for Cryok to attack right now. Should probably just hold back for a while, especially with the Mutalisks that could come in from behind. But the first turret has only just now been thrown down in the natural. There are a couple in the main, but they're not in the best position to defend the mineral lines if Plumham wanted to go in that far. Even so, there's still some good SCV kills to be had in the natural, so that won't be an issue for him. Trying to avoid the Marines and doing a pretty good job. The Marines are getting stuck behind the SCVs. And Crack has pulled back his force to try to deal with these Mutalisks. Plum's been able to do a lot of good damage here, and this damage is only compounded by the fact that Crack cut SCVs. So Crack, as a percentage of his economy, has lost a lot more than he would have in a normal game. Looks like Crack's going to resume SCV production, trying to replace the ones he lost. Man, is he going to take... He's almost taken every SCV at this point. He does take out one of the missile turrets, but the other one's just in time to finish. It goes down as well. All the Marines are back, though, and without the missile turrets to block the Marines, Plum should probably just leave at this point. Alright, leaving now. Does go back for one more SCV before leaving. And how much farther away, or how far away is Lurkers? Not very far at all. Enough that even if Crack went immediately, he wouldn't get there before the first Lurkers finished. Man. And this is very important for Crack. If he hadn't let that, those two Zerglings into his base, Plumham might not have thrown down 5 sunken colonies, and he'd still be on the 3 he built originally. And with only 3 sunken colonies, Crack had a chance, albeit a small one, but a chance to bust through. But once those extra sunken colonies are thrown down, Crack pretty much lost at that point, I think. I really don't know how he comes back from this. He's taken way too much economic damage at this point. The cut SCVs are really going to start hurting him, and he doesn't have a very strong army. There are no upgrades. It's decently sized. It's about to have +1, but Lurkers are out, so. Now that's scary. And that's scary because this is typically what it looks like immediately before Zerg barrels forward and tries to do a Lurkerling Mutabust. He should not try to Lurkerling Mutabust. That's a really good way to let Crack back into this game, to throw away all your units against Crack's reasonably sized Marine force. You should... I don't know. The Marines are completely out of position now, so the Lurkers are going to be in great position to shut down everything, and the turrets might even go down so there's no detection. But this is a little bit risky from Plumham. I don't know, Plumham's going for the game-winning push right here. It's not necessary. He could just hold back for a while, but Crack's going to challenge the Lurkers. How many Lurkers can he take out? 2 Lurkers down, 3 Lurkers down. But most of the Marines have also been lost, and still 2 Lurkers remain, along with the majority of the Mutalisks. Lurkers just need to scoot a little bit forward so that they can start hitting the command center. And, ooh, that's not good. That's not good, throwing away 3 Mutalisks. Who holds position their Mutalisks? Seriously, like, nobody hold positions Mutalisks. You just don't do it. But the Mutalisks are gonna get cleaned up, and the Lurkers are cleaned up. Crack didn't lose the command center. Like, I mean, Plum's still obviously in a great position. He has 4 bases, he has more supply, but he doesn't need a bust here. Just wait for Defilers. Defilers aren't that far away, your hive's almost done. Just play it safe, man. Ugh. Oh, Crack almost managed to get a lurker snipe there. He stemmed forward at a really good time and got close to picking out the lurker, but not quite. First siege tank's out, so it's certainly going to help Crack with what he needs to do. Science facility on the way as well. Crack's working on his tech, but he is stuck on 2 bases. It's going to be very hard for him to take a third. There we go, there's the file round. Fulham just needs to hold off. That's all he needs to do. It is kind of tempting, I will say from Fulham's perspective, to try to get to the top of the ramp, because that's a much better hold position than where he's at now. But that's still too risky. Well, Croc's going to very slowly push forward and try to knock Fulham back. Fulham did go in with 4 links, try to snipe out the tank, but Marines were way too close for that to work. So Croc is establishing himself a little bit of breathing room. The third on this map is pretty easy to take. You don't have to get very far forward to be able to hold that off. So Croc might be able to take a third. There is a chance. Consumes about 30%. I assume Crack is done. Yeah, Crack is done. Are the first defilers even out though? No, he hasn't made any defilers yet. He is making a couple of ultralisks. Where's the cavern? There's the cavern. Alright. Well, Croc's got 1 shot. This attack needs to take out, at the very minimum, this bottom base. Probably more. Like, he needs to take out half the lurkers and the bottom base and not lose any tanks. Or the science vessel. If all that can happen, Cryok is about even. It's a pretty tall order, though. Especially once those damn defilers come out. And, oh no, he's just supply blocked. Those are all overlords. Alright, here comes the attack from Plumham. He's going to be going through a choke, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter when you have this many units. Even a Hydralisk, for good measure. And yeah. Yeah, Croc's dead. $80 supply compared to 115, and the 115 is a Zerg player. Cryok didn't get a third base in the attack because I think he even realized that he was pretty all in with that. So there's no point of really expanding when you just need to try to kill your opponent. Now Fulham has a nice balanced Zerg army. So a couple swarms and he can go for those bust attempts again. Should be able to easily overpower Cryok. Has Cryok switched to mech? Cryok is trying to switch to mech. Does look like some drops though. Double drops, in fact. Interesting. Vultures in the main, some Marines in the 4th. The Marines in the 4th are doing a pretty good job. They do chase away all of the drones. And the Vultures in the main, well, they'll be able to get some Zerglings. Alright. A little bit. Really not enough, though. Okay. Ironically, Plumham's not going to play aggressive now when he has doubled the supply and a control group of Ultralisks. for unknown reasons, but apparently Plumum got disheartened by his first attempts at attacks. He just doesn't feel like actually moving in. He says he's gonna take the center expansion. And top left. Oh, we going in? We're going in. There's nothing to guard the siege tanks. It's going to be pretty easy for the Ultralisk to overrun them. And indeed, we are going in. All the siege tanks are going to go down very quickly. And Cryok immediately GG's. Plumum needs one more game and he will win the series for reps. The iFU mystery player has to win 2. So, in the top position, Plumum is playing as the yellow Zerg. And in the bottom position, we have... Must as the green Protoss, with iFU incapacitated for the first few weeks here. Must is probably iFU's best player. He's a really solid Russian Protoss. I think he's really talented. So certainly I think he would be at an advantage versus Plumum. But Plumum's pretty good against Protoss. It's his best matchup, as it is for all Zergs. The map is Electric Circuit. What? Oh, he's trolling. Yo, you can't ask me to fix things in a sarcastic manner. Because I mess up the titles enough that when somebody says please fix, I assume that there's actually something that really does need to be fixed. And I can't tell if it's a joke or not. I actually have to like read it and really think, do I need to change something here? Far more than I should. Alright. I like the wall here. No, I don't like the wall. You know what? The wall's not bad. Gateway on bottom. I don't think Dragoons can get out. If he puts the gateway here, then it won't be tight between the batteries and the gateway, whatever those things are supposed to be. So he'd have to get the batteries underneath the gateway. But if he puts it underneath the gateway, then I don't think that gap is big enough for goons to get out of. So he'll have to destroy something. Yeah. Alright, and no, that's not tight. He didn't actually put the gateway on top of them. They're still to the side. So, it's not circling tight, but probes were pulled, and one cannon is enough to scare away Plumum in this case. Plumum has taken a third base over here. That's actually slightly unusual for Plumum. Plumum's a player who likes to take the closer third. So either the one here, or possibly the one here. Because usually Plumum's really aggressive in this matchup. So he's not really thinking about taking fourth bases this early in the game. But This is a very normal base for an average Zerg player to be taking. I have something on Skype. Is it more replays, I assume? Yeah. Okay, cool. I got the rest of the replays. Apparently the games are done. Good stuff. Man, and I caught that fast. It was like in the same minute. Normally when people send me on Skype and I'm casting, I don't see it for like 15 minutes. Until I just happen to look down, but this time I caught it immediately. Alright. Interesting. Plum's actually going to transfer over drones to this base. That's something you rarely see Zerg players do, for a couple of reasons. One, because they're vulnerable when transferring, but that's a minor reason. It's mostly because the Zerg's bases aren't saturated. So if there were extra 5 drones here, it really doesn't slow down mining, hardly at all. It's about the same, so you don't get the boost from mainering the drones. And you do lose mining time. Because the third base is so far away, there's a lot of travel time, so it costs the Zerg more minerals than it really makes them. So surprised to see Plum transfer that many. He transferred like 5 drones over. Alright. Must has his Citadel. He hasn't gotten speed yet, though. Instead going for a really fast Templar Archives. Interesting. Water is delicious. So. It does look like Plum is going to play this very standardly, though. I don't think that's how you're supposed to SimCity this, but it's going to work out with a sunken behind here. It'll be fine. There it is. And... alright. I guess really what we're wondering at this point is what Must is going to do with this early Templar Archives. He hasn't built anything yet, okay. So Must going for the fast DT, still... okay. Never mind. +1 has now started. So the +1 is going to be a little bit slow, but still, with the slower +1, they should be finishing at the same time anyway. And Must might be able to get something going with the DT. How good are we on Overlord coverage? Plum has 2 Overlords at the natural, although they are moving out. Hopefully they stick around. And then a good number at the third. Looks like Must took a hit on the Corsair. 2 DTs out now. Heading top left. So really with 2 DTs, he's not necessarily looking to be invisible. He's just looking to be able to overwhelm the defenses. But that's not going to work against that many Hydralisks and a Sunken Colony. So Must just needs to back off here, and he will. Only taking a little bit of damage on each Dark Templar. Okay. So, speed is done, +1 is done, and the Archon is done, so this is going to be a strong attack from Must, but because it was delayed, Must has a large number of Hydralisks out that he wouldn't normally... Plum has a large number of Hydralisks out that he wouldn't normally have. If they go for the third, though, there's not a whole lot of defenses there. They might be able to do some damage before Plum makes the reaction, but once these Hydralisks come in from the back, they'll be able to clear up clean up everything very quickly. Scourge. I don't think the Scourge can see. Oh, never mind. Scourge can totally see. Hydralisks are on the way. And the Archon's a little bit slow, but the Zealots are turning around anyway. I guess they really didn't want to deal with it. The Archon's going to get ambushed, though, and the Hydralisks can take out Archons very quickly. The Archon goes down only after getting off only a couple of shots, and it looks like Must is going to throw away his entire force here, hardly killing any of Plumum's stuff. Now retreating with only 2 Zealots, and he's in a little bit of danger of getting busted here. He's throwing down only cannons 2 and 3, very slow on the cannons. That forge is horribly exposed. That's the closest cannon to defending it, and it's still a very far ways off. The Templars, one of them has enough energy for Storm. Storm's done researching? Yes, appears Storm is done researching. So 1 Storm is going to have to be a really clutch Storm. Possibly 2 by the time. Okay, 2 now that we waited a little bit. Ooh, and Plumum's only going to go in with half the forces. I like this. I like this a lot. Bait out the Storm. Don't take that much damage from it. Yeah, okay, Storm. Okay, Storm. That Storm's better. That Storm was better. It's going to take out a lot of them, but still, that's it. That's all the Storm's Must has. And now he can bring in the rest of his Hydralisks. And Must is just going to go toe-to-toe with this. Lots and lots of speed loss to come to engage the Hydralisks. I don't know if he knew about all these Hydralisks when he engaged. No, it looks like he's turning around now. He would not have engaged if Plumum had not hit his Hydralisk like that, so a really smart move from him. The front gateway has gone down. It looks like the Forge is going to go down as well. Before +2 can finish, should probably cancel that, save a little bit of money, not going to. How many gateways are left? Still has 5 gateways, so that's not going to be a huge concern. What is the concern is the lack of cannons and lack of Storm at this point. It's all about these speed lots, but as Plumum rallies in more and more dudes, so it does a little bit of micro just to keep them off of the frontmost Hydralisks like that. It's all Plumum's going to need here. He can easily take out the Zealots, and all the Zealots are dead. That's Must's defense. That's it for Must. He does not have Storm. Plumum can go in and win the game right now. Like, right now. And here he goes. It looks like 1 pylon's covering the 3 cannons, so that might even be a target, but it's probably easier just to pick off the cannons themselves. 1 cannon is down, 2 cannons are down, and the last cannon falls, other than this one, way in the back to defend against Mutalisks. But these Hydralisks are moving in. A Storm does go off. Does that mean he has another Storm? Yeah, it means that this one now has enough energy for a Storm. Oh, wow. That High Templar got 9 kills. Nice. Oh, man. And now we are using the Nexus as part of the wall just to try to keep the Hydralisks off of the cannons. But a lot of these buildings are going to go down. The Nexus can be ranged, but that's a very, very good Storm. That was 7 kills with 1 Storm, all of them Hydralisks. There's also a drone here. Accidentally? No, not accidentally. We're proxying a hatchery. Alright. He does need to back up, though, because that hatchery is going to die to cannons. He didn't cancel it. Plum doesn't give a fuck. It's fine. It's like, I won't cancel my hatchery. I'm gonna distract your cannons. Clearly, he let it live so that the photon cannons would waste too many bullets, and then they wouldn't be able to attack the Hydralisks. It's like it's worth it in Plumum's mind. It's like, clearly that's what he must have thought. Where'd that other drone go? Is the drone still around? No, there was another drone here, but apparently it went back. No follow-up proxy hatchery. Just slightly disappointing. Yeah, Must is lost here. Unless he finds lots of Templar with energy somewhere. Didn't mean to click on that. Nah, he's just done. Oh, he does have Reavers. And he does not have a Citadel. Was the Citadel somehow blocking him? I guess the Citadel was blocking him. He needed to get Zealots here, to defend the cannons, but he didn't want to have to go around the citadel and be in range of this lurker. So he just blew up his own citadel. That's cool. It's a completely reasonable thing to do. Must does have this expansion. That is worth noting. That backdoor expansion means that Bust is still on 2 bases, even though he lost his front one. It's a 2-base contain, so Protoss might not be completely dead, but it's certainly not looking good. Tied up supplies now, and Must's first Reaver has arrived. Alright, what is Hive Tech? Hive Tech is done. Crackling on the way. Do we have... No, we don't have anything else. Alright. So just the crackling upgrade, still pretty good. Looks like Must is moving forward with the goons, trying to snipe lurkers, but it's not gonna work out terribly well. Storm does go down, hits Hydralis and Lurker, and now the Reaver's coming out. The Reavers would be a lot better at sniping these rather than the Dragoons, but not gonna stop Must from just using Dragoons to snipe, even though you got Reavers. That's fine. Is that still +2? Yeah. A very late +2 for Must. He had to rebuild the forge back here, and then hadn't started it for a while, but now, finally, is getting that upgrade. I'm surprised that Pulm hasn't taken out these side disruptors. I'm not necessarily saying that going through the back door with your entire army is the best idea, but if you take out these side disruptors, Must has to build more cannons. He has to build more than 2 cannons back here. You are wasting lots of Must's money if you take out these side disruptors, and you have lurkers. You just need to pick 2 of them up. Going in with the cracklings for snipes on the Reaver. I mean, it's a pretty daunting gauntlet to try to run through for these Lings, but got the Reaver down to a 1/4 health. So that's pretty good. Do we still not have Defilers? Defilers would be pretty nice here. Looks like the Ultralisks are kind of blocked off. And no, we don't have Defilers. You have a Greater Spire, though. Okay. That's definitely going to be a worthwhile investment right there. No Mutalisks? No Mutalisks, that's fine. Clearly, Plumum is scared. He's scared of a DT drop in his main, and he doesn't want to lose the Spire. So we got the Greater Spire for a 400 hit point increase. Yeah. I mean, I assume he wanted Guardians, but he just hasn't done it yet. There's a Mutalisk. Guardians wouldn't be terrible here. Like, you'd have to avoid storms. So you need at least 5 Guardians to be able to one-shot Templar so that you don't get stormed. But okay. You know what? That's 8 Guardians. That is definitely more than 5. Alright, it works. Must GG's. So, Plumum takes the clan war with 2 wins. Wins it 4-2 over iFU. That means Reps is now 1-1, where iFU falls to 0-2. And I need to save games. Whoops, can't extract files yet. Oh, what is next? China versus Sir, Alarm versus Fox. I'm gonna do China versus Sir first, because technically it doesn't say I'm doing it doesn't say I'm doing LRM versus Fox today. So if China versus Sir is a horrible, horrible set in terms of time, then I can just not do LRM versus Fox today, and I didn't break any promises. Even though I'll probably be doing it today. Alright, I need to turn off the broadcast.